Hello everyone, welcome back to project 7 of Crafts by the Bow using the 12 days of Advent crafting kit. And today's card, I'm not going to do any stamping. I'm going to use bits and pieces that I have left, and also I'm going to use the pre-printed ephemera that's available for Stampin' Up right now. So I've got out pieces that I've made for other projects or when I was designing things, and that's what I'm going to use. Oops, let's pick those up. And then in the box itself, I still have so many things. And I had a question last week about the dies that I'm using. They come with the kit. These label dies and all the floral dies and the little rainbow one. So they're in the kit. So I've still got labels to use. I haven't used any of these puffy stickers. I'm not sure about these. I don't usually use these. We've used the stencil kit, but of course we can use it as many times as we like. I've still got lots of the die cuts. I've got some of this embossed card, which I'm using today. The smaller pieces, almost like the small memories and more pieces. Still lots of the little die cuts. Hundreds of the gems left. The little glitter glue that I think is a little bit like Stickles or Nouveau, where you can make your own embellishments and things. Loads of the sequins that have the butterflies and the flowers in. The twine. Lots of paper still left. I do have lots of scraps, but I also have loads of the paper and then all the little scraps. So I've got lots and lots, and I just want to use some of the bits that are already pre-cut for me. I will find something to do with these doors that I kept off the box as well. I don't know what yet, but I will use it. Okay, let's pop that away. And so today I'm making a bridge card. And I was looking back on my YouTube channel, and back in 2022, I made a card like this. And it was inspired by a friend of mine who'd sent a sample card to me. It was from Diane Inkster. And she sent me this card, and I made something similar. And I'm going to use it again because lots of cards that we've made before, we don't seem to go back and check and make it again. We seem to think, oh, I have to find a different card. Well, not today. I'm going to make that card again. When I started designing this, I said I was going to use layers of stock, the Misty Moonlight, but I found a smaller piece of Secret Sea on my desk. So where it says Misty Moonlight here, I actually used Secret Sea. Okay, right, let's move these out of the way. I'm going to pop them all up here. And we're going to prepare our base. So I've got the thicker basic white, and it's 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4.25. And now I'm going to cut the sides on the piece that will become the front. And we're going to cut at 1.25 inch all the way down to the score line at both sides. Not all the way down the card, just down to the score line. And that's fairly easy to do. Let me pop this here. I'm just going to put this in at the trimmer. I'm going to put the edge up to 4.25. Oh, no, 1.25, I beg your pardon. Yeah, 1.25. Like that, and I'm going to close it down. I'm just going to move my score blade out of the way. And actually, I'm just going to move the cutter as well. So let me put it back at 1.25. And what I want to do is run this down to 4.25. Now you could use the little lines on the side. I'm just going to go down to where I see the score. And let me show you. On these blades, there's a little line, and that shows exactly where the blade is. So if you want to measure by using this little line, rather than try and guess where the blade is, just put that down to 4 1/4. Let me pop this back in. So I'm going to line it up at 1 1/4, close it down, and then just with the score blade out of the way, I'm going to use the cutting blade down to 4 1/4, but I can see it easily going down to the score line. Okay, so if I stop there, I know it's at the score. I'm going to open that, and I'm just going to move this along. I want to cut at this side 1 1/4, and it's easier for me to put it over to the right hand side of the track. So I'm just going to line that up. I'm going to put my score blade back up at the top. And again, I'm just going to bring that down. I'm going to look to see where that line is, and I'm just going to stop level with the score line. Okay, so it cuts down there quite easily. Right, then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to bend these pieces in. This will become the front of our card. We need to burnish it. So just with your scoring tool that you can use a bone folder. You can even use one of the blocks and just push across and down. You just need something to close those little bits down. And then this will become the bridge. So when we have it standing up, these two pieces at the front, we'll put a piece of card across, and that will be able to be raised up and down. Okay, right, let's move this. We've finished with that piece. We're going to do our layers. As I said, these are Secret Sea and not Misty Moonlight. And we're going to cut 4 of the side layers and 1 of the front pieces. And then we're going to do exactly the same with the designer series paper. So we're going to cut 4 pieces that will go on these layers and 1 piece that will go on the front. I used a scrap of this that was actually 3 by 4, and I just had to cut it down to 2 5/8 by 4. And that will just layer with a small border onto here. So let's layer that up first. Now, I didn't choose a designer series paper for my sides this time. In the card that I'd made previously, I put a different designer series paper to the front on there, like a coordinating piece. But what I found that I really wanted to use was, let me just get them. I was going to use one of these because they're 4 inches long, but they're only 3 inches wide, and there's only 1 of each. I was going to use this lined one because I thought that would look really nice next to it, but there's not quite enough of it. So I opened this embossing pieces of cards, and in these there are 4, I think it is, 3 or 4 of each piece. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 pieces. So there was enough for me to be able to use the embossed pieces instead and have some left over. So let's pop that back in there. So I've got 4 pieces cut, and they're all 1 inch by 4 inch. Okay. So I'm going to pop those onto this card as well. And it's really just a case of layering things and gluing things. Once you've got everything cut, because we're not going to be stamping, it's just an assembling card today. There's 1. And because I used 2 pieces of that embossed card, what I did was I put both pieces together in the trimmer. And so these 2 pieces have the exact same pattern because they were on top of each other. And these 2 pieces have the exact same pattern, but it's not the same as this. So I'm just sorting it. I've got 2 the same for the front, 2 the same for the inside. But if you've got designer series paper, it really won't matter. Your paper will be the same on each piece. There we go. And it is a fun little card, this. Once you've cut that front piece to make a bridge, then it's really easy just to pop together. Okay, now they go together, and they go together. And then this one. Okay, so let's start and layer this up. This one is going to go right on the front, like this. Doesn't matter which way around we put it, because this paper doesn't have an orientation that we need to worry about. Okay, and then I'm taking two of the pieces that match and I'm putting those on these front strips. There we go. Oops. Get the other piece that's the same. I love when I have a card to make and all the pieces are already there waiting for me in the box and I don't have to, sort any out. Okay, we're going to open that and open the front. And these two pieces are going to go at the left-hand side and the right-hand side. And I'm lining them up with this strip here. So I'm going right in the middle of it and making sure I have the same border at the bottom and the top. And I find that if I use those strips to line it up, I know it's in the right place. And I find it easier just to get to know how much of a gap I need for my borders and everything. Now I'm making sure that it looks the opposite way. So this half a layer of flowers is going on that right-hand side this time. I probably made it a little bit more difficult for myself, having something like an embossed piece, but I think it looked pretty. Okay, and then I have another white piece for inside. And really, you don't have to put the white in because you could stamp on this, you could write on this. But I just like the look of having that extra layer of white. It just sets it off. But honestly, you don't need to. If you want to stamp something, stamp it before you stick it in. I know mine, I'm just going to write and maybe add an embellishment on the inside, maybe a die cut or something. Oops, there we go. Wasn't quite straight, now it is. Okay, so let's close it back up. It's already starting to look really pretty. Now you need a piece for the bridge front. I had some pieces of embossed card already made, and these were quarter sheets of thick basic white. So they made the perfect size because we need 1 inch by 5.5 inch. So when you emboss white card or any other card, if it's something like a 3D embossing piece like this, the paper will shrink slightly. So normally what I do is I emboss, and then once it's embossed, then I cut it to size. But because this was already made, although it's 5.5 inches, it will be slightly smaller because of that extra creasing in the paper. So this is actually 5 3/8. When it's on here, it won't matter. It will, instead of going all the way to the edge, it will just be a tiny border. But if you want, you can sometimes just pull it or flatten it a little bit just to make it fit. If you think, oh, I'm doing that in a different colour, I'm not using the white, and it really stands out that I've got a tiny bit left and right, just pull it, just stretch it a little bit. We're going to glue this on here, but only on the left strip and the right strip. We're not going to glue anything onto that middle designer series paper piece. So you can see that's how it will go. I'm only going to put glue 1 inch at that side and 1 inch at that side. Sometimes with these heavily embossed cards as well, the glue doesn't always catch the same. It goes into those little troughs or little divots that the embossing makes. So you might need a bit more glue. Okay, I'm going to lift it up a little bit. I want to have, 3/4 of an inch or an inch at the bottom. And then I'm just going to press it and drop off. I'm just going to press that so that it goes all the way along. Okay. It's still snowing here in Alberta. I'm hoping that next week might be a snow-free week. Okay, so now we've got that little bridge and it stands just on its own then, but we need to decorate it a little bit. I've got the sentiments that I showed you. I've got some pieces already die cut. I've got that one little leaf that I sponged and didn't use, and a little flower. And although that's really pretty, I'm going to keep that for one of the more pink designer series papers. I've got these that I had cut out. I've got one little die cut left of that. Some of the big flowers, the small flowers, some still to die cut. If you don't have anything, have a look in this pack. This has got flowers, leaves, bows, all sorts of things that you could use. That would go with the other designer series paper. Let me find that other blue designer series paper. I think that's the pattern. That one, look. If you'd use this paper, these are these pieces. That would still look really pretty on there. If you don't have anything else, the bow would look nice. I've used other pieces, but there was probably some that I've used already that we could have popped on. But I'm going to use the die cut flowers that I have. Let's pop these all back. But every time I open the pack, I find something different in it. It's like the pack that keeps on giving. Okay, so I don't want a big flower. I'm going to move these ones over, and I don't want the bow, so let me pop that one away. I'm going to use, I think, one of these, but let me get my sentiment first. I'm going to use, I think, one of the black ones like this, because I love how it really sets off the secret C around the edges as well. Do you know that I think that one would just work on its own. I don't even think I need to look for anything else. That's what I'm going to use. But there are lots of different sentiments that you could use in here. I thought I might use this Sending Hugs one. Oh, that's pretty too, isn't it? But I don't like how my flower fits there. So I'm going to go with the thank you one. Well, that was quick. And I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. So let me see if I've got those out on my desk. Yep. Here they are. And because it's wider than my bridge, I'm just going to measure carefully, and I'm just going to put 3 right across the middle. There we go. I will have enough left as well that I can put some inside. Okay, I'm going to pop it right in the middle. You could put it off to one side or something though. Let's have a look whether I'm going to put the darker flower on. Maybe with one of those leaves. Or if I'm going to put the lighter flower on. No, I think I'm going to go with the darker one. And I'm going to put that up on dimensionals as well. So I'm just going to pop one in the middle. Let me see how I want this to fit. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have it like this. And I've made sure to put the dimensional in the middle so that it's not sticking out and catching on that front of the card. This one, I'm just going to pop in with a little bit of glue. That was just one of the white pieces that come in the pack. that I was sponging. And I'm going to make it go over this left-hand side a bit, just to use a little bit of that white space up. There we go. Do I need to put that on? No. So I can glue one of the little gold pieces on. I've got some of the sequins. This has also got the little butterflies in as well. I think they're really pretty on the cards. This is not the packet that these come in. They were in a little, like a little plastic envelope, one of these kind of things, but smaller. And I just couldn't find what I needed in it. So I put it in an old little plastic tub. What was this one from? I don't know. It's going to say on the other side. Tiny bee trinkets. So always keep these little things. But it's got those tiny little butterflies in that are really pretty. I've used them on a few cards. So those little ones there. So they would be pretty on there. But I'm going to use the gold ones. Pop them on with a glue dot like normal. But I'm just going to open this. And I'm going to get one of the other flowers. I'm going to use the same colour. Where did I put the other one like that? It's disappeared. I thought I had two when I checked. But no, I can't see it. So you can probably see it. It's on my desk somewhere. But I'm going to put the paler one then inside. I'm going to pop this in. If you had another little leaf, you could put that in there. Oh, I'm going to use one out of this pack. Just saw there was a leaf there. I'm going to use that one on the inside. Let's see. I might pop it right down in this right-hand bottom corner. Like this. Pop a little bit of glue on here. Let me just see. Yep. Tiny little bit of glue. I'm going to put some on the back and some on the front because it's going right underneath the flower. And that will give it a couple of places just to attach. There we go. And then let's find my glue dots and pop some of these on as well. I like the bigger ones, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to stick one of the bigger ones. I get 3 all together. Oops, I don't want that small one. Pop them on those glue dots and then I'll push the glue dot onto the back so there's nothing protruding. Okay, so take this off. I'm just going to push it. You could push this on with tweezers or your fingers. And I pop one of those on there. Around there. You could certainly do some of the smaller dots. Let's do one of the smaller ones up there. A bit more glue dot to push on. But they're very forgiving, these glue dots. Okay. I think I like that, but let me just check there. Oh, no, I don't want it there. Okay, so there we are. A quick and simple little bridge card that stands on its own. It's pretty, only uses small pieces of designer series paper and some of our leftovers. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'll be back with project number 8 later this week. Take care and enjoy your crafting. Bye-bye.